Welcome to the QA Financial Podcast, the leading series exploring innovation, risk, and digital resilience in software quality assurance across financial services, healthcare, and insurance. I'm Mikhail Williams, the editor of QA Financial, and today we're joined by Tim Gough, Chief Technology Officer at Simply Health. Tim has led one of the UK's most ambitious healthcare technology transformations, steering Simply Health through a 5-year journey that has merged legacy systems, modernized infrastructure, and achieved more than 80% claims automation. As the technology head of the UK's leading member-owned healthcare plan provider, Tim brings deep insights into how AI, data, and DevOps are reshaping the future of healthcare IT. At the upcoming QA Financial Healthcare and Insurance Forum London 2025, which is taking place next month, November the 26th in the British capital, Tim will open the conference with his session, setting the agenda, the technology, and the quality we need for connected healthcare. Ahead of his talk, I caught up with Tim. Tim, welcome.
Hi there. Great to meet you.
Thanks for having you. Tim, your team has just completed a major transformation at Simply Health. Congratulations. From legacy systems to a highly automated claims environment. And what were the biggest lessons from that journey in terms of quality assurance and technology leadership for you?
Yeah, so a few things really. First and foremost, it is a people transformation as much as a technology transformation, and we kind of made a lot of changes within the business around processes and kind of all the sorts of areas we were looking to change in the business as well. And I think one of the things when you do system replacements, what you've got to do is look to re-engineer everything from the ground up process wise, because if you just replace the platform, you're just going to get the same platform again at the end of it. I think it's approaching it as a kind of customer and people centric transformation project is absolutely the key way to get and make those successful, especially things like claims automation, rethinking the way we approach those problems as much as anything else. Otherwise, you just end up with another legacy platform that's doing exactly the same thing as the old one did, and that doesn't win for anybody.
Okay, let's focus on next month on your talk at the upcoming forum. And you'll be opening the forum with a session on connected healthcare. I mean, how do you define that term, and what does genuine interoperability between player providers and patients look like in practice to you?
I think for me, it's really trying to simplify the customer experience as much as possible, so they don't know what a hugely disconnected environment is behind the scenes. I think if we can ensure that all of our customers just don't see the amount of work we have to do to make that sort of thing work. We've got a huge team of clinical experts and technicians who kind of pull that patchwork of disparate kind of clinical interventions into really simple single customer journeys. I think people, the NHS is a fantastic system that's out there, but often navigating your way through that is an extremely complex thing. And there's lots of really good innovative kind of technical pieces in that puzzle that can kind of knit through that journey and be added into it as complementary services to the NHS, not just as a replacement. Because often when you're in private healthcare, it's often are we a competitor? And we absolutely see ourselves not as that. We are trying to make sure, how do we help people find the right services at the right time when they need it? And that means building really slick customer experiences, allowing us to be as interoperable as possible. And what I mean by that is allow partners who provide those clinical services to plug into us as quickly as possible and allow us to scale and add those into the journey as easily as possible. And that's kind of what it is for us, and allow that kind of data exchange. Right. So customers can flow right through the process without feeling the pain. Now, we're definitely not there yet, but we're certainly working on it.
Okay. Obviously, AI is quite a buzzword at the moment. Yeah. So let's quickly zoom in on artificial intelligence. And how do you see AI influencing software testing and data assurance, especially when handling highly sensitive health and claims data in the years to come?
Yeah, sure. So it's been a topic that's been around for a long, long time in computer science. I did as part of my degree, but back in those days, it wasn't quite the very specific term that people use now for it. It's a broad church of it, specific kind of technical computational algorithms you can use. I think the key thing is it's always been used for a long time. It's just got more and more better. And I think for the most time, for clinical reasons, lots of it's about machine learning and on the actual that sort of data, and it's much more mature. Now, I think AI nowadays and in the recent history is much more targeted around the term around generative and agentic experiences, and I think the biggest changes in the recent past is around the sorts of tools, development tools, support tools that people can have to just accelerate those very mundane tasks. I think some of the newer agentic solutions we see actually deliver some of what robotic process automation kind of promised in the recent past, and really helps build that test automation that's so critical to delivering good quality outcomes. And I think that's kind of where the real improvements in the tooling for QA is about how we can take those very human descriptive tests you want to write and generate some code to actually do that. And it's always a very careful process around generating code, but the ability to kind of take those tests and expand them and just make them more repeatable, to take all the effort out of actually executing tests and allow the quality engineers to define the tests and help earlier in that cycle of getting the quality right at the front of the development cycle, so that people can add the value there, not just be testers at the other end of it. I think that the more modern tools, starting to see those sorts of capabilities come through in where we can use them and where we do use them and where we don't use them.
Okay, no, fair enough. That makes total sense. In the interest of time, let's quickly look ahead. I mean, what quality and compliance benchmarks do you think healthcare and insurance organizations must meet in the years to come in order to stay competitive and trusted, in this new era of digital healthcare?
So I think there's two areas. Right from the actual benchmark is customer data is so critically, it can't be lost, it can't be leaked. That is where the benchmarks and cyber, you've got to talk about a little bit about cyber and nowadays, like, how do we keep that data safe from both letting it bleed into the public domain in a number of ways. So that's kind of the number one thing that you just have to keep. And that's what, quality has got to keep a focus, a really tight eye on as well, is kind of making sure that there's no way of that bleeding out. But that's kind of the baseline. It always has to come back to that customer experience of how people don't see any impact to their usage of an application or as a solution. How can quality teams enable the sorts of things that allow applications to degrade effectively? And that's kind of what allows availability within an enterprise application. Is, if something fails, how well does it fail? How well does it recover? And the sorts of things that you can do, and making sure that all those sorts of tests are built in, and all the sorts of things around that are thought of right early on in the life cycle of building an application.
Okay, cool. Very clear, very informative. Thank you so much for that, and I really appreciate it. That was Tim Gough, Chief Technology Officer at Simply Health. As I mentioned before, Tim will open our brand new QA Financial Healthcare and Insurance Forum London 2025 next month on November the 26th. For more information about that conference, please do visit our website. In the meantime, Tim, thanks so much. I'm looking forward to meeting you next month.
Pleasure.
And
yes, I'm looking forward to it too.
all the
Thank
best.
you. Bye.
Thank you.